Hello everyone, I am OG Star Wars purist 69 8,732,154. And today we will explain why, despite the high praise Andor has been getting from the corrupt mainstream media outlets and their minions, it's missing a certain ingredient that can only come from the source of Star Wars itself. To give context on the situation, these people have the audacity to say that Andor is the best Star Wars content since The Empire Strikes Back. They have the gall to say that it's objectively good and respects the source material, and that it builds up to Rogue One and A New Hope, making people appreciate them more than they've ever had. This is wrong on so many levels. Andor is Disney Star Wars. By default, it can never be as good as the original trilogy because, well, it's Disney and not George Lucas. George Lucas's Star Wars is episodes 1 through 6 and the expanded universe, despite the EU being a tier lower in canon to the movies, and itself divided into separate tiers of canon. Either way, George Lucas's Star Wars is the one true Star Wars. Andor is fake Star Wars. Who cares if the characterization and world building is good? Who gives a damn if the plot follows cause and effect or if the themes are deep and compelling? Who gives a shit? No George Lucas, no canon. I'm not being stubborn and dismissive, nor am I being presumptuous. I'm just right. Besides, the writing for Andor is not even good, and anyone who says it's good is lying to you. They're tourists who never cared about Star Wars because they weren't there from the beginning. They should all be considered grifters, despite not making money from the narrative that they're selling to their audience. So how is Andor badly written? Well, to put it simply, it's boring. Star Wars was good because it was interesting. The characters, the crazy powers, the environments, the tools, the tech. Sure, it was all dressing, but it was interesting. Andor is not interesting because it has bricks and screws. It's true. That alone breaks my immersion and obliterates my suspension of disbelief. I watched Star Wars to escape to a galaxy long ago and far away, not to be current dayed by Californian shit. Also, Andor is not interesting because 99% of its characters are humans. Why focus on the humans when the galaxy is literally littered with aliens? Humans are so annoying, get them off my screen. And more important of all, Andor, both the titular character and the show itself, doesn't have the Force. The very fantasy thing with gives space wizards their powers. It's why George Lucas's Star Wars has always focused on them in their struggle to control the galaxy. The Force is also the very thing that shapes the destiny of everyone. Everything that happened in Star Wars was the will of the Force. Hence why Star Wars was originally going to be centered on the Journal of the Wills. Get it? The Wills? The will of the Force? The sequels would have been good had Snoke been a fallen whore, like Satan was a fallen angel. Anyways, without the Force, it's not Star Wars. It's Star Trek. It's Battlestar Galactica, it's Rebel Moon, it's Spaceballs, it's Star Chaser, the one with the gender-bent C-3PO, and the horny Mexican Han Solo, and it's Les Miserables but in space. Plain and simple. Andor has grade A actors, but their characterizations are paper-thin and have the emotional weight of the feather. If Andor were good, I would have cared, and I would have remembered it after watching it, but I didn't because the character work was lazy. I didn't care, therefore it's bad. Andor is first seen looking for his sister, which incites the plot, but it's dropped after the episode. Bad writing. It was interesting at first, but dropping it makes it wasted potential. Tony Gilroy is a hack. Also, despite Andor being the titular character, he doesn't get enough screen time to justify the show being called Andor. Here's a rule of thumb. The titular character of any movie or show should have the most screen time. They should be the main focus. And don't just talk about them when they're off screen. Show them. Show, don't tell. It's a simple fucking concept. I would apply this rule to books, but nothing on screen happens in books, except in my head as I'm reading. Luthen is just a crazy old revolutionary with morality issues, and his backstory is told in flashbacks, which is antithetical to Star Wars because Star Wars is linear storytelling. George Lucas never used flashbacks, because that would have broke continuity, and therefore immersion. Continuity being the unbroken flow of events in a scene. Mon Mothma was a nothing burger in Return of the Jedi, but Andor decided to focus on her more than Andor himself. It's bad because it's woke. Speaking of woke, there are gay lesbians, which is pure yike. And worst of all, there's an attempted rape scene with Bix. Star Wars is supposed to be for kids. Sexual assault has no place in Star Wars. And don't bother telling me Jabba sexually assaulted Leia in Return of the Jedi. That's whataboutism. Jabba wanted to eat Leia, but he savored her by licking her face and dressed her in a bikini as garnishment. He was saving her for later. How do I know this? In the Extended Universe comics, Jabba ate a lady in blue who locked him in prison. It happened in canon, therefore it makes sense. So for all of these objective reasons, Andor is bad. It's not Star Wars. Star Wars is good because it made me care. It made me care because it was interesting. And it was interesting because it's good. This is a completely logical thing to say. And if you disagree, you're media illiterate, and you watch movies wrong. I could end the video here, but I have to address the toxic fans who think Andor is so good that it makes everything else that came before look inferior, including the original trilogy, and who will bully people like Star Wars Theory and Anna That Star Wars Girl into silence for rightfully criticizing Andor as slow and boring and bad. You people who eat cheese and drink wine do realize that Andor takes place in the same Disney fanatical Star Wars universe where princesses fly through space, right? It's stupid. Meaning that everything the characters do in Andor will eventually be undermined by the Rise of Skywalker, in which Rey defeats Creamy Sheev Palpatine and calls herself a Skywalker. In the end, none of it will matter. So the emotional payoffs in Andor are null and void. So stop feeling whatever emotions you have for Andor because they're unearned. You can't isolate Andor from the rest of Disney Star Wars because that's intellectually dishonest. That's cheating. You have to consider all of it. If you don't, you're a hypocrite. With all the issues laid out, hopefully something in here made you see Andor in a different way, even if you disagree with me, which I'm okay with even though you're objectively wrong. I hope you at least understand why I don't like Andor, but it's very unfortunate that the Andor agenda propagandists on Twitter celebrate Andor like it's the greatest thing in television history when it's mid at best. There's no excuse why Andor has to be a slow and boring corporate piece of entertainment slop that shows little effort on a filmmaking and storytelling level. They are the kind of fans I hope they never write or direct anything. They're massives. Those who say that Star Wars should be more like Andor and nothing more know nothing about what makes Star Wars in terms of actual storytelling and filmmaking. They don't have George Lucas's best interest at heart. Even Tony Gilroy said he's not a fan of Star Wars. That should tell you something. If not, you just don't get it. So to end this video, I'm not saying stop liking Andor. It's okay to like bad things. You eat the easy, safe, televised Taco Bell fast food soulless slop you like, and I'll eat the risky, rich, and deep cinematic Cheesecake Factory heart and soul gourmet food I like. I may have sound harsh, but I have good reasons to be harsh. We're trying to save Star Wars because we care about it. We want it to be the best it can be. We demand better, and so should you. Star Wars Theory and Anna, That Star Wars Girl, had completely valid criticisms, but you harassed them and pestered them for giving their truths. You are thin-skinned and can't take criticism towards your sacred cows. Our criticisms of Andor are completely valid, whether you agree with them or not. Get over it. Boofire191 once said to save Star Wars, we must let it die and turn into ash. Andor is not that thing that'll save Star Wars. So I say we speed up saving Star Wars by turning it into ash, by burning it to the ground. Thank you all for watching.